Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoyee's biology channel. So we are here with the third part of this life processes, that is respiration. Previously we have already done with autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition and digestive system in human beings. So I hope you have already gone through those lessons. If you have not yet gone through those lessons, I am putting the link above as well as in the description box. Go through them. And let's get started with today's episode of respiration, where I'm going to discuss about respiration, breathing, the types of respiration and the structure of respiratory system. So let's get started. What is respiration? So respiration is defined as what? It is a metabolic process and it is happening in the living cells of an organism to obtain energy. So energy in which form we are getting? We are getting energy in the form of ATP by taking in oxygen and liberating carbon dioxide, and from the oxidation of the complex organic substances in our body. Now you just think of the process of photosynthesis, which we have discussed in the previous lesson. So this process is just the opposite of photosynthesis. It's a mere opposite of photosynthesis. What happens in photosynthesis? We are taking in the energy, the sunlight, the carbon dioxide and water, and we are absorbing the sunlight energy to give out, release oxygen. But here in respiration, what is happening? We are releasing out energy here. So it is just the mere opposite of photosynthesis. Now here in respiration, it is happening in the cellular level, so it's called cellular respiration. So as it is happening in the cells, we are telling that respiration is happening in the cells, so it is called cellular respiration. Is it clear to you all? So it is called cellular respiration. So what is happening in the respiration process? We will be going in details in the slides what we are going to discuss now. Okay, so let's move on. So where does this respiration take place? This respiration occurs in cytosol and around the plasma membrane in prokaryotic cells, and in eukaryotic cells it is happening, it is taking place in the mitochondria, which is considered as the powerhouse of the cell. So prokaryotic cells, it is taking place in cytosol. In eukaryotic cells, it is taking place in mitochondria, and mitochondria we all know is called the powerhouse of the cell. So this process is very much similar to internal combustion of car engine. So how a combustion happens in a car engine, so like that only this is happening, wherein in organic compounds and oxygen go in, while water and carbon dioxide they come out. So oxygen and organic compounds are going in and carbon dioxide and water is coming out. So energy is liberated and the automotive or the powers, now we can say that the energy that is liberated powers the automotive, powers our body, and for that only we can work so much. So it depends on the how the amount of this energy is utilized by the cells. So what is the basic process? What is happening in respiration is, let's give up a summary first, then we will go in details. So what is happening? So during respiration, the glucose what we are consuming or whatever is there present in our body, glucose is being broken down. That is, it is glucose is a 6 carbon compound which is broken down into a 3 carbon compound called pyruvate. So this formulas and all, it's not required for you in 10th standard. In higher classes, as you move on, you will be learning the chemical equations of this all. So glucose is broken down into pyruvate, and what is happening here? A small amount of energy is also released here. So this also is released in the form of ATP. Now what is happening? In presence of oxygen, when this is broken down, we can say that is aerobic respiration. So when it is being broken down in absence of oxygen, so in yeast cells, that is in prokaryotic cells, when it is broken down in absence of oxygen, it produces alcohol. So it is producing ethanol and it is producing carbon dioxide. So it is in absence of oxygen. So that is happening, no oxygen is there. So in absence of oxygen, and pyruvate in absence of oxygen in the human cells, what is it so doing? So here also no oxygen is there. Now the end product there is, here it is lactic acid. So in human beings, the end product is lactic acid. So see, it is used in this process is called fermentation, and with the help of this process only, the alcohol making industries, they are producing alcohol. So alcohol making industries, they produce alcohol through this process, and this lactic acid in absence of oxygen, how we can say that when we are doing too much exercise, then lactic acid gets accumulated in our muscle cells, in our cells, and so we are getting cramps. So this lactic acid accumulation causes muscle cramps when we are exercising too much. So we keep on telling that you hydrate yourself, drink more water, so that this lactic acid gets diluted with your blood, and it should be removed from your body in the form of sweat or in the form of urine. Okay, is it clear? Now we will go to details of this process. See here, this one is cellular respiration. So what is happening in that cellular respiration? Let us see that. The first process is that the conversion of glucose into pyruvic acid or pyruvate is happening in the cytoplasm. So there are different sites within the cell also where the respiration is breaking down glucose into different components with the release of energy. So here very small amount of ATP is broken down, released when glucose is broken down into pyruvic acid or pyruvate. Now this is again entering the mitochondria, where through the process of metabolic reactions in Krebs cycles, in presence of certain enzymes and all, it is again releasing ATP. Huge amount of ATP is released. Then this process is Krebs cycle, and then through this electron transport system, that is oxidative phosphorylation process, then ATP again, huge amount of ATP, that is much more energy is released in the powerhouse of the cell, that is the mitochondria. So this cellular respiration is happening in three stages. First is glycolysis, then is Krebs cycle, and then is oxidative phosphorylation. So this all processes you need not know in details, no need to know in 10th standard. In high classes you will be studying, just you know the end products, that is from glucose till pyruvate or pyruvic acid is produced, and then when it enters the mitochondria, then also huge amount of energy is released, and carbon dioxide is also released in this case, and this carbon dioxide is exhaled out in the form of now in this carbon dioxide, what is exhaled out is during inspiration and expiration, that is during breathing process, what we exhale is the end product of this respiration, which is coming out as carbon dioxide. Okay, the oxygen is being used, energy is being released, and carbon dioxide is being exhaled out through the process of expiration. So this is the breathing process. So what is the difference between breathing and respiration? There is a mere difference between breathing and respiration. So breathing, this is breathing. So breathing, we are generally breathing in oxygen and we are exhaling carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide is the carbon dioxide which is produced in this cellular respiration. Is it clear? And the oxygen, that is we are breathing in through inspiration, that oxygen only is required in the breakdown of the food or the glucose which is being absorbed by the cell. So this thing is happening in each and every cell of a body. This is cellular respiration. How many ever cells we are having in our body, all the cells are having the same process, that is they are breaking down the glucose, they are releasing energy, and they are giving out carbon dioxide as the waste product which is being exhaled out of our body. Now we will see the mere difference between respiration and breathing. Here we are going to discuss about the mere difference, the main important differences between breathing and respiration. So breathing is the physical act of inhaling and exhaling. Just now I told we are inhaling what? Oxygen, which is being utilized by each and every cell of our body for the breakdown of glucose into the other forms, pyruvate, pyruvic acid and all, and that too with the release of huge amount of energy in form of ADP and ATP molecules, right? So while respiration is metabolic process by which the cells use oxygen to produce energy. So this is what I told you in the previous all slides. So breathing occurs in lungs while respiration occurs in cellular level. That is, it occurs in all cells of our body. So it is happening in the cellular levels. So breathing is a voluntary process that can be controlled, while respiration is an involuntary process. So breathing can be controlled. You can just close your nose, you can just close your mouth, and you can control your breathing process. That for 1 minute I want to control my breathing, but this respiration you can't control. It is continuously happening in your cells till you are alive. So it is very important life process. It is one of the life processes only we are discussing today, right? So respiration is an involuntary process that is regulated by the body's autonomic nervous system. So it's being regulated by the autonomic nervous system. Breathing ensures the exchange of gases required for respiration. So through breathing only, it's being ensured that oxygen enters the body and it can be utilized during respiration, and respiration releases the waste products, that is the elimination of carbon dioxide, which is being exhaled by us only during expiration, right? So now we will move on to our textbook, which what they have discussed with activities we'll discuss there. Now here we are seeing two activities, activity 5.4 and activity 5.5. Now in the first activity, you take some freshly prepared lime water in a test tube. See, this is the test tube. We are taking some freshly prepared lime water. Blow your air through this lime water. So when you are blowing air to lime water, what is happening? The lime water is turning milky. Why? So because once carbon dioxide mixes with lime water, it turns milky. Right, use a syringe or a pitchkari to pass air through some fresh lime water. You are using a pitchkari here to pass some air taken in it in another test tube. So note how long it takes for this lime water to turn milky. So this actually will tell about the amount of carbon dioxide in air that we breathe in. So in air it will turn milky very fast, but when you are what we can say, when you are pumping or using a syringe to pump water in this lime water, it will gradually turn milky, because in the air outside also there are some traces of carbon dioxide. So it will also turn milky, but it will turn milky gradually. But this will turn milky instantly, because carbon dioxide is present in our in the what we are exhaling, in the expiratory air, carbon dioxide is present. So this is proving that the air being exhaled into the lime water contains huge amount of carbon dioxide. Now we are moving to the second activity. Now taking the second activity here, we are taking some fruit juice or sugar solution and adding some yeast to this. So when we are adding yeast to a sugar solution, what is happening? Take this mixture in a test tube, fitted in one hold cork, and fit the cork with a bent glass tube, and dip the free end of the glass tube into the test tube containing freshly prepared lime water. So the same thing is happening when you are adding yeast to this sugar solution. What is happening? There is a preparation of carbon dioxide in that test tube. So what change is observed in the lime water, and how long does it take for the change to occur? So it will take some time, because sugar solutions should react with yeast, and then only the release of carbon dioxide is happening. So this converts the lime water milky. And what does this tell about the products of fermentation? So fermentation, one product is alcohol and another product is surely carbon dioxide, which is turning the lime water milky. So in the last section or the last class, we have already studied about nutrition in organisms. We have told that the process of nutrition is used in the cells to provide energy to various life processes. So that energy, how we are getting only, we have discussed in the previous slides, where we told that respiration is a process which in turn is helping us to produce energy with the help of oxygen that we are inhaling during inspiration. Okay, so diverse organisms do this in different ways. Some use oxygen to break down the glucose, whereas to get carbon dioxide and water. Sometimes in the pathways they are varying. Okay, so the step, what is the step? That is, a 6 carbon molecule is converted into a 3 carbon molecule, that is called pyruvate. So this is what we have spoken in the previous slides. So that is converted. Now further, the pyruvate may be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So this process is called fermentation. So the process of producing ethanol and carbon dioxide from yeast in absence of oxygen is called fermentation. So this is in the previous slide only I have told you. Since this process is taking place in absence of oxygen, is anaerobic respiration. So the definitions will be coming in the next slide. And breaking down of pyruvate using oxygen takes place in mitochondria. So what is mitochondria? We all know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So there only the breakdown of pyruvate using oxygen takes place in mitochondria. So this process breaks up the 3 carbon pyruvate molecule to give molecules of carbon dioxide. And the other product here is water. So let's come to this flow diagram where we are seeing the breakdown of glucose by various pathways. So in cytoplasm, what is happening? Glucose, a 6 carbon molecule, is converted to pyruvate, a 3 carbon molecule, and a minute amount of energy is released in the form of ATP. Now this, in absence of oxygen, what is being produced? In yeast, ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy is produced. So then in lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, what is produced? Lactic acid and energy is produced. Okay, so ethanol is a 2 carbon molecule, lactic acid is a 3 carbon molecule. Now what is happening in presence of oxygen in mitochondria? In presence of oxygen in mitochondria, carbon dioxide, water and energy is produced. Now all these carbon dioxides which are produced in respiration are exhaled through the process of expiration. Okay, so there the energy is released during cellular respiration, which is immediately used to synthesize a molecule called ATP, okay, which is used as a fuel to all other activities in the cell. So in these processes, ATP is broken down, giving rise to fixed amount of energy which can drive the endothermic reactions taking place in the cell. So ATP is broken down, giving rise to fixed amount of energy and which is driving the endothermic reactions taking place in the cell. So what is happening now? This we will first see the definitions of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Then we will learn this in the next slide. Now here we come with the definition of aerobic respiration. We have just now told that what is aerobic respiration? It is type of cellular respiration that takes place in presence of oxygen to produce energy. Now it is a continuous process that takes place within the cells of animals as well as plants. That is, it is taking place in only living organisms, right? So living organisms, so we have told that these are all the important life processes which are necessary for all the living organisms to be alive. So this process can be explained with the help of a chemical reaction. So glucose with the presence of oxygen is broken down into carbon dioxide, water and energy in the form of ATP molecule. Now here comes anaerobic respiration. So it is also a type of cellular respiration that takes place in absence of oxygen to produce energy. Now the chemical equation for this anaerobic respiration is what? The chemical reaction for this anaerobic respiration is, here you see first the glucose in presence of lactate dehydrogenase enzyme. So this is an enzyme, dehydrogenase, lactate dehydrogenase is an enzyme which is converting glucose to lactic acid and energy, the 150 kilojoule of energy is produced. Now again glucose in presence of alcohol dehydrogenase, this is lactic acid fermentation, this is produced in human muscle cells. Okay, so this is happening in human muscle cells. This reaction is happening in human muscle cells where this is happening in the yeast cells. So for that only yeast is used for producing alcohol. Okay, so this process is being used in making alcohol industry. So alcoholic fermentation, this is called. So there ethanol is produced, carbon dioxide is produced, and energy is released. So 210 kilojoule of energy is released. Is it clear to everyone? So anaerobic respiration, two types of anaerobic are there. One is happening in our muscle cells and another is happening in the yeast cells. So I think it is clear to you all now. Now we will move on to the next part. So we have told that ATP is the energy currency. So the energy which is produced is in the form of energy currency. Most of the cellular processes, ATP is produced. Okay. So the energy released during the process of respiration is used to make an ATP molecule from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So from ADP and inorganic phosphate, this is ADP and this is inorganic phosphate. So this in turn produces ATP. Right. So what is endothermic processes and what is exothermic processes? You all know endothermic processes in a cell is what? Then they use this ATP to drive the reactions. Okay. So when the terminal phosphate linkage in ATP is broken using water, so this all are actually a bit of chemical reactions are there. So in higher classes, when you learn this full processes like glycolysis, Krebs cycles, oxidative phosphorylation, these are all biochemical processes, biochemical reactions which are happening in our body. There only you will see the terminal phosphate linkage is in ATP is broken using water, and the energy is equivalent to 30.5 kilojoules per molecules which is released. Now, relating to this only, you can relate how the battery can provide energy for many different kinds of uses. So, like that only, this ATP which is being broken, which is being utilized in our body in different parts for different functions, that only is a function of a battery. Where the energy for different kinds of, for different uses, it can be used. Okay, it can be used to obtain mechanical energy, light energy, electrical energy, and so on. Similarly, ATP can be used in the cells for the contraction of the muscles, protein synthesis, and nervous impulses, and many other activities. Right, is it clear? So this is very important. So these are all the functions of ATP, the energy which is produced or the energy currency in our body in the cellular processes. Now, since aerobic respiration pathway depends on oxygen and aerobic organisms need to ensure that there is sufficient intake of oxygen, we have seen that plants exchange gases through stomata, and the large intercellular spaces ensure that all cells are in contact with air. Now, carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by the process of diffusion. So, you know that it is exchanged by the process of diffusion, and they can go into the cells or away from the cell or out from the cells. So, the direction of this diffusion depends on what? So, the direction of diffusion depends upon the environmental conditions, the requirements of the plant. That is, at night when there is no photosynthesis occurring, carbon dioxide elimination is the major exchange going on. So during the day, carbon dioxide is generated during respiration and is used up by photosynthesis. So carbon dioxide is produced in respiration and it's used up in photosynthesis. Okay, so it's used up in photosynthesis. Now, instead of oxygen release, is the major event at this time. So animals have evolved from different organs for the uptake of oxygen and the environment for getting rid of carbon dioxide produced. So terrestrial animals can breathe oxygen in the atmosphere, but animals that live in water, they need to use the dissolved oxygen. So we know that we all are terrestrial animals who are living on land, and the animals who are living in water, they need to use the oxygen that is dissolved in water. So this activity, we will be dealing with this activity in the next lesson, in the next episode, because today we have already dragged it so long, it will be difficult for you to understand if I continue with this lesson again. So let's move on to the in the next video we will be studying about this activity where we will prove that how this dissolved oxygen is being taken up by the fishes. Okay, and we will study about the structure of human respiratory system in details. Till then, please do go through this lesson in full so that it will be easier for you to learn the next episode. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that whenever I'm putting updates in my channel, you get to know the updates or the notification first. So stay tuned, stay updated with all the videos which I'm posting, and please do share it with your friends. Thank you.